Today will not be doing anything crazy difficult. I'm just gonna make a really silly like poster or something. Um, but what I will be doing is let me just create new. So when you open up Photoshop, that's what it looks like. And when you've worked on a few documents, they'll show up here, so you can see recent documents. I've wiped mine, so you can't see my recent documents, but I can create new. So we're going to do a custom, and this is something important that you need to know. For game development, like almost 99% of the time, we use something called a power of two. So everyone know power of two? Yep. So like 16, 32, 64, like 128, 256. Basically, the numbers that RAM comes in or like memory card comes in, we always use those. The reasons are historical. It goes back to because computers are binary, it's one and zero, so everything's always like based off a base two. So everything that we want to use is a power of two. In older engines, especially, and on older platforms, so like even if you build in a brand new engine, but you build for, let's say, like a PlayStation 1 or something, this can cause huge rendering issues. Now, let me just make sure that it's recording. It is. In current engines, like you'll probably get away with a badly sized texture, but it especially has rendering issues in older kind of like platforms. And the other thing we need to do is everything's always square. There are very specific examples where we don't use square images or textures, but for the vast majority of what we're doing, we're always square. So if I want a square like poster or image or something that I want to use in engine, you can see I already have it set up. It should be the same in the width and the height. It's 2048 by 2048. That's what I'm using. The resolution that you're using always depends on what you want to use it for. So for example, if I have, let's say that's the whole screen, and I was gonna like make a background, like literally just a background that tiled. And tiling just means like you take the same one and you tile it. You just keep repeating it and it blends seamlessly. If you're okay. You can take a water or something or leave. So if it's gonna be like large, fairly large, that means my resolution that I want to pick is also fairly large. If I want to have something that's really small, like maybe a decoration, like a little small flower or something here, then I'll be much smaller. It'd be like 32 by 32 or 64 by 64. It just really depends on what you're using it for. Okay, there's no hard and fast rule of what resolution you want to use. What you do need to use, so I'm using 2048 by 2048, and I'm going to go for pixels because we are always working in pixels. The other reasons for this is if you're doing stuff for print or for promotion marketing, we're not doing any of that, so we're doing pixels. The resolution we're going to use is 72 pixels per inch. Do not use 72 pixels per centimeter. Your image will be giant and it'll break your computer and you'll ask me why it's happening. So these two things are a big like, I guess like new person problem. They'll put like 2048 inches. That is huge. That's like literally the size of like a building. So make sure this is pixels. Make sure this is pixels per inch. And that's what we're using. We're always using RGB color if we're using screen. The only reason we use any of the other weird ones, like honestly, most of the time we'll only be using RGB, CMYK if you're using for print. And then 8-bit is fine. We can use a transparent background and then make sure this should be default. It should say like square pixels by default. And if it is, you can leave it. If it doesn't, make sure it's square pixels. Just leave it at that. All the rest of the stuff is for like screen and movies and stuff. So we can create that. And you can see I got this. It's square because I set it to the same width and height. And it is transparent. So Photoshop displays transparency using this checkerboard. If you see that checker, that's transparency. Okay, so it means you can see through it. So let me just show you. If I literally like draw something here, and if I save this now, this will show up as transparent. So file, save as. Oh no, I need to save a copy because it's annoying now. PNG. I'm going to save on the desktop. Test. If you go to the desktop, you can see that test there is transparent. All right, so anything that was a checkerboard is transparent, and then anything that I added pixels on, that actually is opaque. And then if it's like half opaque, it'll show up as like half transparent, essentially. Okay. All right. So for the first one that we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you a few Photoshop, just kind of like basic tools that you can use. Give me a character or movie or TV series or something. What's hot right now? Chris Pratt as Mario? Yes, let's do a mock of Chris Pratt as Mario. Okay. Love it. They haven't released any kind of like stills or anything, right? It's literally just the yeah, let's do all right, pick an image for me. Oof. We going left or right? I don't know. The resolution is very low. So here's actually it's a good example here. I can always reduce something that's really high resolution. So if it's like thousands and thousands of pixels, I can reduce it low and I pretty much preserve quality. I can never fake and add more resolution. So if I have a very low resolution image like this, you can see it down the bottom there, 590 by 350 pixels. And I'm putting it on a 2048 by 2048. I can stretch it, it'll look okay, but it will degrade in quality, always, okay? But let's use it, because it's pretty good. I don't know how Photoshop's gonna deal with this one. All right, so all I did, I just right-click copy image. When I go back to Photoshop, I can just Control V, or you can like right-click and paste, and it pastes in here. You see the way it's tiny? Because it's so small. So what I can also do is like enlarge this. The shortcut for that is Control T or Command T if you're on a Mac, or you just go to Edit and Free Transform. Okay, and what that does is it gives you, I don't know if you can see that, the little bounding box here, and this bounding box allows you to rotate. So if I'm on the corners, I can rotate it, and if I'm on the edges, I can scale it, and it'll scale this way. If I hold Alt, the Alt key, or on Mac it's the weird squiggly key, and I enlarge, it'll stay centered as I enlarge. So let's put it up like, let's make it like this, because I want a bit of a background, something around this size. I don't know if you can tell, but you see the way it's all pixelated? Don't worry about that. That's just a preview. You'll see what it looks like later. Let's put it here. Let's hit enter, that applies, and you see the way it's like, it's extrapolated. So we haven't actually lost that much quality. It looks okay. If I zoom in, I'm sure it'll not look great. You can see there now. It looks terrible. But that's because I zoomed. I blew up a very, very low quality image. So ideally, you always want to work with as high possible quality image, and then reduce it down. Going from low to high doesn't work that well. So the other thing I want to do is like there's all this bits on the side. I want to cut that out. So I can use something called the Marquee tool. It's right here. You can either press M or click it here. If you click and hold, most Photoshop tools, if you click and hold, they'll give you different tool types or different options related to that tool. So I have a rectangular marquee, that's fine. And you can literally click and drag and create a selection like so. You can actually see it better there than I can on my screen. And I want to get rid of everything outside the selection. So I can invert the selection. That is either Control I or select and inverse, or Shift Control I, sorry. So that's inverted, and then I can just hit delete, and that'll delete everything in that selection. If I want to stop selecting stuff, that is Control D or Command D, or select and deselect. So that's deselected. So I have this. Now there's a lot of different, I need to get rid of the background, right? Because there's all the bleachers in the background, there's other characters. I just want Chris Pratt. There's a lot of ways we can do this. And I'm going to show you the old ways, and I'll show you the magic new way, which hopefully will work, because I don't know if it'll work with this. So there's multiple different methods. We could use an eraser, and that is E, or like here, there's an eraser. And literally all it does is it erases. The amount that it erases is based off like the opacity here. So I can scroll that up to 100%. You also can change the opacity using the number keys. So like 1 is 10% and 0 is 100%, 5 is 50%. I don't know if you can see the numbers changing, but I'm just changing the numbers there. So I have it on 100, and I could like manually go in and erase stuff. And oops, sorry. If I hold Alt and scroll, I can zoom in, and then I can jeez, and then I can go in and like slowly cut it out. So that's one option. It's very accurate because I'm doing it manually, but it's obviously a lot of time. It's very time consuming. Another method I can use is here. There's a Lasso Tool, L. So Lasso just allows me to click and drag an area, and because it's a selection, I can do the same thing as I did before and just delete that area. I can also use a magnetic lasso, which is a little more accurate, and it looks for contrast areas. So if there's two, like on this area, you see the way there's a contrast difference? Like this is really bright, this is really dark. So it'll detect that contrast difference, hopefully. So let's see it do it. If I click and drag, it's kind of snapping to the area where there's a contrast difference, and that's pretty good. So for example, I could do that. I'm just going to close that off and hit delete, and it'll get rid of that area. All right, so it's pretty good. Another option I can do is, and I haven't seen this one work very well, to be honest with you. It is the background eraser. So it's on the eraser tool. If I click and hold, there's the background eraser. You can control like its tolerance, so like how tolerant it is of like getting rid of the background or preserving the background. And if I click and hold, it's not bad, but then it'll screw up sometimes. You see the way the arm kind of disappeared? It's weird the way it works. And then sometimes it just doesn't work at all. So that one I find has a very hit and miss. I will also show you something that was new, like it's only been the last few years, which is if I go to properties, so window and properties, and I go to quick actions, I should be able to just hit this remove background. And let's see whether that works. And basically doing some AI and like magic. So that's pretty good. We still got like this Traeger here, but that's fine. We can remove him manually because it's way easier to remove just that. I will probably just use the magnetic tool to go around here and then grab all of this area and delete. Okay. The other thing to note actually before I do that, I don't know if you've noticed, but like that was the layer that I was working on, and it's added this little thing here. This is called a mask. So a mask means it's non-destructive. A mask, anything that's black, it'll block it, and anything that's white, it'll let stuff through. So I haven't deleted the background. You can even still see the background there. That mask is just blocking it. If I hold shift, I can turn that mask on and off, which is actually a good way of working. Because if I make a mistake and like erase something I'm not supposed to, if it's on a mask, it's fine because I just like readjust that mask, like just re-edit it. So in this case, that selection that I have there, I'm not gonna delete it on the layer. I'm gonna go to the mask. I'm gonna choose the color black, and if I hit Alt Delete, that'll fill. So I filled the mask. So again, that character's still there, but he's just masked off in the black mask area. Okay. And then it's a little bit missing here, so let me just grab that with the lasso tool. Okay. Cool. Is everyone familiar with the concept of layers, actually, before I continue? So layers are like one of the reasons Photoshop is powerful, which is everything is based off layer editing. Everything that's on top shows in front of stuff that's behind it. So if I grab this layer, and I will again draw blue there. Oops, sorry, let me make it. So behind Chris Pratt there. That is behind, so whatever, oh, it's missing a bit. You see the way on this, I'll need to fix that. But if I drag that, literally click and drag that above, it now shows in front. So Photoshop is built on this concept. Everything's layers. And then layers can have different modes as well. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me delete that layer and let me fix that bit. So I think I'm just going to use a brush tool, which is B, or like here, the brush tool. Selecting the layer mask, I will paint in white. So it'll show this little area here. You can use a mouse, but you can also use like this thing. It's like 30 or 40 euros if you can find it used, or 50 euros new. It's called a tablet, a graphics tablet. Wacom does, I would say, one of the more reliable ones. You can get larger ones and ones with screens that are cheaper. Like there's brands called Huion and there's another brand I can't remember. But I've always, every year, everyone who's bought one of those has always had problems with it. Like when software updates or something, like Wacom drivers are pretty reliable. They're not the best by any means. I don't like them as a company, but they are reliable. So I would recommend using one of those if that's what you want to do. And they just work like a pen. This is not working, so never mind. I'll fix that in a second. So that's the other thing with tablets. They like kind of take a while. So I'm just going to draw that in here. Job done. Okay. Cool. And I was drawing in white, so that's going to show through, right? And I was drawing on the mask. I wasn't drawing on the layer. So again, the layer's there. That's gone. Cool. All right. That stuff on the top, that's a rendering issue. I think my graphics card is not happy, but don't mind that. That's not correct. What are we doing for our background? What? Wings. What? The retro Mario background. Just put Bowser. Let's hide Bowser somewhere. Like, the first one's alright. Yeah, but we need to Hollywood this up as well. It can't just be pure retro. Okay, let's grab that one. So again, copy paste. Copy image. Oh, by the way, I'm just like willy-nilly grabbing stuff and just pasting it in because this is a joke image that I'm never going to actually use in a real game. When you're actually getting stuff to use in a real game, you need to be aware of copyright. So certain things are completely copyright free. They're public domain. Anyone can use them. You can edit them to your heart's content. Certain things you can edit and use only if what you're producing is non-commercial. Certain things you must attribute, so you must say the credit somewhere that this belongs to someone else, and then certain things you have to pay for. If you're worried about that, when you're searching for an image in Google, you can go to settings, search settings. Oh no, sorry, it should be here. It should be, there should be an option here. Where's the option? Oh, it's in more, yeah. No, it's not. Where's the tools? Tools? Yeah. Okay, usage rights. And then Creative Commons is what you want. So Creative Commons, and be careful, because Creative Commons doesn't mean completely free to use. There's different types of Creative Commons. There's like Creative Commons completely free to use, and then there's Creative Commons like CC BY. CC BY means like you have to accredit whoever used it. So there's a different, there's bunches of different variations. Anyway, did I copy that? Don't remember if I copied that. Copy. And let's paste that. Sorry, my computer's running a little slow. It's not liking this. So it's huge, okay? Because that was a massive image. And if I hit the Command T, you can see that it's huge. So I can rescale that back in. If I want to move it, I can just like click and drag it. If I hold Shift, it basically keeps it, snaps it. It's not locked, but it kind of snaps it like horizontally or vertically. Wait, we want to have the zoom Goomba? I think we want, we want like a do we want the Goomba? Yeah. Okay, just like peeking at the side. Okay, so that would be a background. Cool. And you see, because of the layer thing, it goes to the back. We need a hat for him. Mario hat. Oh, we can put overalls on as well. Let's look for what? Oh, and the mustache, yeah. Oh, see, he's in a really awkward position. Oh no, not too bad, not too bad. Okay, let's look for. Do we want an Odyssey hat, or do we want just a normal hat? Odyssey hat. So what I need to worry about is because it says like that. I probably would like to have a picture where the hat's up that way, but then you also want to see that it's the hat. So let's see if this works. I don't think this will work, but we'll find out. So another method to remove the background, especially if it's really simple like this, where the background is very different, you can use something called the Magic Wand tool. It's W. And Magic Wand tool will select everything of a similar color. So you see I selected the white, and it keeps selecting until it hits an edge that isn't. And you can control that with the tolerance. So the more tolerant it is, the more it'll be like, if let's say it was white and then it was like slightly cream, if it was more tolerant, it would also allow that slightly cream. It was very like low tolerance, it would be like, no, it has to be exactly this color. So let's delete that. So Control X, that's pretty good. And then I will just resize that to okay, so it's okay. Doesn't quite fit. Hold on, just give me a sec. There we go. I kind of want to curve this so it fits the head shape. So I'm just going to leave that there. And it's in free transform mode. Sorry, but computer is really struggling. I can right click and go to warp. And warp gives me these handles, and I can like stretch that around. So it looks more like it's fitting, if that makes sense. Oh no. I'm trying my best. Okay. The other thing that we can see is that, first of all, there's a quality difference. I don't know if you can see that here, but like the quality is way worse compared to this. So that's a problem. There's things we can do. We can like pixelate this to match it. There's also a problem in that like there's no shadow below it. So let me just make this a bit smaller. Okay. So like when you have something occluding sunlight, obviously there needs to be a bit of a shadow. So what we can do is, again, add another layer below, and I can manually paint this. I'm using a brush, using a black color, and I'm using the opacity like maybe on 30%, so it's low opacity, and I can literally just paint in a little bit of shadow. And like this, it's not the most amazing thing, but compared to with it off and with it on, one looks a little more realistic than the other, a little more. We also have a problem with shading because this looks very cartoony. Let us, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with this. I'm going to use something called a dodge tool. There's a dodge tool and a burn tool here. A dodge will brighten something and a burn will darken something. So I'm making sure I'm selecting the hat layer, and I know the light's coming from here, right? Because you can see it hitting that side. So I'm going to dodge that side. So here, try to lighten it. Oh, let me make the exposure stronger. Can you see it getting brighter or no? Not really? No, this projector's not really showing it. I don't think this is working very well. It's not dodging the best.
I guess to show more, you have to like darken the other side there as well.
Yeah, I might burn the other side, because the other side's kind of in shadow. So there's a bit of shadow here already. So this one you can see a little more. That's burning. And even with that, like it's really silly what I've done, but it just makes it look a little more in line. So lighting is always one of the biggest things. Making sure that lighting is consistent across all your items is one of the best ways to make it look realistic. I think I might just draw in white. I'll just paint in white, to be honest. It's not great, but it'll do. Okay. What else we need? Oh, the overalls. His trousers are grey. I wonder, can we make those, or we just give him up? I don't really want to give him overalls though. Huh? Make his pants blue. Okay, so I'm gonna try something. I don't think it'll work because his pants are grey, but let's find out. So let me grab a, I'm just gonna grab a selection. So I'm gonna use the lasso tool. Just grab this area, this pants area. Okay, and let me just grab. Alright, so I've just made a copy of the pants. You can see it's just the pants there. And I can do something called a adjustment. So adjustment is, oops, sorry. Image, adjustments, and there's a bunch of different types of adjustments you can do. I am going to use a hue saturation adjustment. Hue saturation will allow me to change the hue. Now, because his pants are green, you can see that not much is changing. Sorry, because his pants are gray. So gray is not considered a color. Black is not a color. White is not a color. They're like absence. White is like pure white, and then in Photoshop specifically, pure white is pure white, and then pure black is just pure black. You can't shift the color of white to something else because it's no color. So similarly, gray is like just a variation on black and white. So because of that, it doesn't really get affected that much, and you can see that happening here. Like a little bit is getting a little bit of a tinge. You can see that color changing a little, but because most of it's gray, it doesn't really work out. So I can't use this method, but I can use something else. So using this, like these little pans here. So I just have this pan selection. I can hold Control and select that layer, and this gives me a selection. So if I control and click like the little square image, that selects everything in that layer. I'm gonna make a new layer. New layer's here. So there's a brand new layer here. And I'll just fill this entire layer in that selection with a color. So let's say the overalls are like, let's say that blue. Alt, delete, that fills the entire color. So that's kind of the color I want, but obviously it looks dumb, right? But that's okay. It's filled with this color, but I can do something called a blending. So I can use that layer, that color, to blend it with the layers below. So that is here, where it says normal. If I click on that, there's a bunch of different blending modes, and you can just like hover your mouse over them, and you see what they do. So you kind of see the way they affect the layer below. Excuse me, I just choked. It's not COVID. So the great thing about it being gray below is that if I overlay a color over it, because gray is not considered a color, it'll just take whatever that color is. Oh gosh. All right, so I think in this case, I think overlay works really well. Let me keep going to make sure. But I think overlay works the best. I think. Yeah. No overlay. Okay. So you can do it by yourself. Like it depends on the way you learn. Some people like learning exactly what they do, so you can find a list of what they do. I'll tell you most of them now. Or you can just like hover through and just see which one works best. So essentially there's a few different types. Multiply is useful for if, let's say I have a sketch. If I draw a sketch on a piece of paper and scan that paper, multiply, anything that's white will be transparent, so it'll get rid of it. And anything that is dark will stay. So if I have a sketch and I want to like color underneath it, for example, I can set that layer to multiply and then color below that layer. Everything that's the paper will just will disappear. Screen is the opposite. Let me do a screen thing. Would there be explosions in Mario World? What? Okay, let's see if there's a... I don't know if this will work. I just need to see. I don't even remember what explosions look like. Haha! Oh, the fireball. What's the thing that like comes up from the lava that shoots up? What do you call them? What are they called? Tokaboos. What? These ones? Where? Up? These ones? Left? Oh, I'm getting so confused. Wait, what? The ones with the these ones? Okay. Okay, let's grab one of those. But let me just show you this one though. So I'm just gonna copy this. But you see the way it's black? So if I paste that here, that's gonna be that. Oops, sorry. That shows up as black, right? But if I set that to screen, everything that's black will disappear. And then it has like kind of a glowy effect as well. So it's pretty good for stuff like fireballs. You can go right here. So it's pretty good for stuff like that. There's other blending modes that are like dodges that will color. We talked about dodge, so it like lightens everything by that color, and then burn will do the opposite. Overlay will like blend whatever that layer is with the layer below. So there's a bunch of different options here. Let's use that fireball. Where did it go? Oh no, this is a fake PNG. This is a fake PNG. It is a fake. Yes, it is. Oh. I don't know why, but some people have started doing these things where they put the checker pattern as if it's a real image, but then you download it and it's not. Let's see if properties is smart enough to remove the background. Oh, Photoshop, you're the best. Okay, so I want to move these two things away from each other. What I will do, actually, I'll just isolate this one and just mask that off. So just completely get rid of that one. Okay. So that's nice-ish, but it doesn't look like Hollywood enough. There's other things I can do. So I can make it look like a bit more glowy, maybe, a little fancier. So if I select that, let me make a copy. A copy is Command J or Control J. So here's the copy by itself there. And what I can do is I can do like filter, blur, and I can do a Gaussian blur. And a Gaussian blur just kind of blurs it a little bit. Okay. And if I set that to screen, that should, you see the way it kind of makes it look like it's glowing a little more? And if it's too strong, you can drop the opacity. So you drop that a little bit. Okay. I feel like we need a title for this. What? Say again? It's oh, what's the thing they put at the bottom? Like copyright of not for public distribution. Copyright of what's the publisher for it? Like for the movie. Illumination, but who's the publisher? Is it just Illumination? Okay, let's just put it in. So we have a text tool, text here, and you can do text. Come on. Okay, cool. Oh, there's horizontal, vertical. I must have been using a vertical. Let's use a horizontal. So I'm just going to type anywhere, and you can type, so like copyright of Illumination Entertainment, not for public distribution. And that will just be like a text there. You can select it, and you can change the color here. So depending on what you want. And if you want a different font, it uses the fonts that are installed on your computer. So if you want a different font type, you need to install it on your computer, and then Photoshop will detect it in your systems. I think I might have a Mario font. I'm not sure if I do. Pretty sure I have like a 8-bit font somewhere. Maybe I don't. Should show up here. If you don't, that's fine. You can get one. So let's look for Mario font. And again, I'm trying to look for a free one. Let's see if this allows us. Oh, we can use this one. That's nice. Mario 256. Let's see if I can download it. Where do I download it? Anyone see a download? Oh, here. You can download the font for free here. Okay. It might ask me to pay, but we'll see. Oh, no, it doesn't. Okay. It's going to save that. It usually comes in as a zip archive. Show in folder. There it is. Cool. So it's only one font. Sometimes they come in as loads of different types. So they might be like italic and like bold and whatever. They're different types. So then all I just need to do is go to fonts, font settings. And if you haven't done this already, you literally just drag and drop the font to install it. And then I should be able to see it in, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Super Mario 256. So it should show up here. Sometimes you need to restart the computer, but no, it's fine. There you go. It's lovely, and that's in white. And then I can just place that wherever I want. Oh, imagine. They actually might sue us. If anyone would sue, it would be Nintendo, wouldn't it? Okay, anything else we want to add just before we break for... I can set that to like... It's beautiful, isn't it? It will be. Nothing else? Are we not missing something? Oh, let's put like Bowser in the background, like, you know, one of those old, like Jack Black. Oh, let's see if I can do this in like 5 minutes. We can start a bit later for the other break because I know you need your 15. Yes. Yes. What?
I forgot that he's claptrap in the Borderlands movie as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So let's make sure that it's behind this layer, because then it'll show up behind that layer. Why is that not pasting?
Very small.
Oh, it's very small. Yeah, you're right. Okay, now I want to see if I can get rid of the background as well. Ooh, okay. I don't know what this is going to do if I ask you to get rid of the background, because there's a lot of hair and it's a weird background. Well, let's see. It's not happy. It's making a lot of noises. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. And then let's set that to a different mode. Lovely. And I can also reduce the opacity just so it's a little subtle. You know, just we don't want to be too obvious in our marketing. I know, right? I'll put it in Discord. Let me just see. Let's grab the Bowser eyebrows. Maybe I can put the eyebrows in. Oh, this okay. So what I will do is, did I post that correctly? It's small. So I'm gonna try and grab just that face area because that's all I want, the horns and the face. Copy that out. Let me just delete this. And basically I want to mask off so it's only the eyebrows and the horns. Let me just do it really quick and dirty because we don't have much time. So I'm just manually doing this. If I want to make 2 selections, I've just made one. I can hold shift and continue making a selection. I feel like he needs his hair as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's do the hair too. Hold shift. Okay. Okay. Beautiful, really. Put it. What? Let's merge it down actually. So this was. I'm gonna make a copy of this. Oh, computer, don't die. I'm going to make a copy of this and make this normal because usually when I merge, you want to, if you want the same kind of like effect to go on both, what I was trying to do is I was overlaying on an overlay so you see them both showing through. So I don't want that. So you might need to merge the layers. Let me also just really quickly darken this a little bit to match-ish. And if I want to merge, I can select both layers and Control E will merge them both together. Okay. Let me put this to full opacity first and then merge them. And then we'll do the... What did we use? I can't remember what we used. Was it overlay? And then it's just lowered the opacity. Beautiful. And is the movie just called Super Mario? Is it just called Mario Brothers? If I can find like an image, that would be perfect. Oh, it's too complicated to pull out. I'm just going to take the old school one. Why not? Copy image, paste that. That's too small. Yeah, I actually need to paste it in front. Oh no, wait. Okay. And then marquee that out would be the quickest way. I remember Control J will copy that, so I'm only copying my selection. And there we go. Don't know where to put this. In the bottom left, maybe. No, but top. I don't know. Let's just put it here, and just make it small. Okay, beautiful. All right, so we need to go for break now, and then Group A will be with me in the lab. All you're doing for today is literally just messing with Photoshop, make your own poster. That's all I want. There's no homework and there's nothing. But from next week on, we will. I will. Just like as we're leaving out, I'm doing the effects here, and I'm going to put a drop shadow to give this a little bit of a shadow. And you can see that there is a bit of a shadow here. Okay. Yes?
What's Group B doing during one?
You have a break, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. I mean...